Massively multiplayer online role-playing games have carried a certain stigma since their inception. Many believe that they are just for the most dedicated, hardcore gamers around, but that's simply not true. You don't need endless amounts of time in order to have fun in a shared multiplayer world, and you don't need to master every single mechanic or skill in order to find yourself immersed in some of the best social experiences in gaming. I'm Sean from GamingDeals.com, and in this video I've put together the 5 best MMORPGs that I believe are great for people that either are new to the genre or just don't have a lot of time to play. Each of these games allow you to go at your own pace and have hundreds of hours worth of content for you to explore over the next weeks, months, even years in some cases. The most important thing to me when selecting these games was that I did not want to include anything that had a required subscription fee. So every single game on this list either has a buy once and play forever model or has an optional subscription fee along with a free to play mode. Because if you don't have a lot of time to play, the last thing you want to do is pay monthly to experience these wonderful worlds. So let's move on with our first game. We're playing RuneScape. RuneScape is actually the oldest game on this list, and it's a testament to the accessibility of the game that's kept it so popular since the original version launched way back in 1998. Since then, the game has been through many iterations, officially becoming RuneScape in 2001, then followed by a big graphical update in 2004, finally receiving its latest overhaul in 2013. However, it's old school RuneScape specifically that's taking my number 5 spot. Old School RuneScape is a classic version of RuneScape that retains the graphics and gameplay of the 2004 version of the game. After longtime fans grew tired of the huge updates the 2013 overhaul brought to the game, developer Jagex decided to launch a separate version that reverted the game back to an older state. While the developers expected Old School RuneScape to be nothing more than a flash-in-the-pan blast of nostalgia, it has actually since eclipsed the popularity of the up-to-date version of RuneScape. From just being an old version preserved to appease upset fans, it has since become an entity of its own, featuring quests, mechanics and bosses that were never in the original version it's based upon. It now receives new content separate from the latest version and should be looked at as a completely different game from RuneScape proper. In Old School RuneScape, you are free to do as you please. You're let loose in a blocky fantasy world where you set your own priorities and take things at your own pace. You have dozens of skills to level that run the gamut from wood chopping to cooking. There isn't so much a main goal in the game as it's up to you to find what you want to work on. Whether you set your sights on getting all your skills to 99 or completing the dozens of varied quests, the choice is yours. Every player starts with nothing in Old School RuneScape and it's up to you to fight, craft, fish and farm to get enough gold to buy what you need to achieve your goals. Old School RuneScape is one of the best MMORPGs for casual gamers due to it not having any complex controls. You click where you want to go and your character will move to that location. You click on trees to chop, click on enemies to fight and click on rivers to fish. It's as simple as it gets. It's also available as a phone application, so you can play it anywhere. It doesn't require a huge time investment to get the most out of it. If you just want to play for 20 minutes during your commute, it's quick and easy to do so. Old School RuneScape is free to play, but some areas and skills are locked behind a subscription fee. While there is plenty to enjoy without paying, if you play for long enough, you will want to try the fun skills and content that are locked behind the subscription. This is why I can only rank it low on the list. The subscription fee is optional, but if you want to see what truly makes this game special, you're going to have to pay up. It's worth noting, however, that it is possible to earn subscription time by getting gold in game, but the required time necessary to achieve this is not really feasible if you're playing the game casually. Naturally, because it's based on an older version of RuneScape, the graphics can be hard to swallow. They bring their own charm to some people, but for others it may be difficult to get fully immersed in the old school world. Old School RuneScape is a great MMORPG for casual players that's unfortunately held back by its outdated graphics and large amounts of content that's locked behind a subscription fee. For our next game, we're swapping out our longswords for lightsabers. Throwing you into the world of Star Wars long before the time of the movies, this MMO adventure will have you siding with the Republic or the Sith. You're free to make your own character and pick your class, each of which has its own powers, skills and abilities. They also have their own fully voiced storylines that adapt to your decisions. If you want to be thrown into one of the best Star Wars adventures you could play right now, The Old Republic certainly delivers. Star Wars The Old Republic is one of the best MMORPGs for casual gamers, as it can be played as a brilliant story-based RPG first and an MMO second. If you want to ignore the MMO mechanics and just enjoy the Star Wars story presented, you certainly can. There are moments where you will have to work with other players, but the main meat of this game will have you just enjoying the story being woven before you. The Old Republic features a tab target hotbar combat system. If you don't know what that means, basically, you have to select your attacks from the ones available at your level. You won't physically be aiming your blaster or swinging your lightsaber, instead you'll be queuing attacks in a very similar way to the original Knights of the Old Republic. If you're new to that system of combat, on paper it does sound like it could be quite dull, but once you've got a dozen abilities open to you and you're in the thick of battle, it proves to be exhilarating. The Old Republic is a great MMORPG for casual gamers because it is free to play until level 60, and allows you to completely finish your class storyline and the quests of the first 2 expansions. There is other content beyond that, with the minimum achievable level being 80 as of the publishing of this video. However, to access that, you will need a subscription. The main part of the game, which is the class storylines and the adventure up to level 60, are available without spending a penny. Like RuneScape, you may want to subscribe in the future once you've got your fill of the free-to-play content, but it's not necessary to experience the majority of the game. The combat system may be a bit daunting to some, and that's why Star Wars The Old Republic doesn't place higher on this list. However, if you're ready to learn how to fight, then I'm sure you'll have a blast. Otherwise, you may want to look at the next game on my list to find the perfect casual MMORPG for you. The Elder Scrolls Online. I don't have a box for this one. You'll notice a lot of successful MMOs are based upon pre-existing franchises. The biggest 2 MMOs in the space right now are World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, to drive that point home. With MMOs being so expensive to produce, it makes publishers way happier to take a gamble on a franchise that is already mega popular. This is why we eventually got an MMO entry in the overwhelmingly successful Elder Scrolls series. Starting with Arena in 1994 and releasing 4 other huge games up to the entry that never seems to dip in popularity, 2011 Skyrim, each Elder Scrolls game has been a bigger success than the last. So it wasn't massively surprising when Bethesda decided to create an MMO that allowed players to explore the huge world of Tamriel at their own leisure. Playing less like a traditional MMO and more like a mainline Elder Scrolls game, Elder Scrolls Online should feel familiar to fans of past entries. Not only does it feature voice acting, dialogue options, and the series' trademark combat, Elder Scrolls Online brings many of the iconic landmarks and locales together from across the previous games. This already huge world continues to get bigger with new expansions that explore different parts of the Elder Scrolls world. Easy to play and understand, Elder Scrolls Online is a great MMORPG for casual gamers. Going a different route from other games in the genre, it retains what makes the Elder Scrolls so fun and simply adds a bigger world and thousands of other players. Though originally released with a monthly subscription requirement, Elder Scrolls Online is now buy once and play forever. There are expansions you can purchase as well, which bring new areas and questlines to the world, but you can buy them when you feel you're ready. There is a completely optional subscription model as well that gives you rewards each month from the in-game marketplace, but unlike RuneScape, you won't feel like you're missing out on too much if you opt not to subscribe. The Elder Scrolls Online is one of the best MMORPGs for casual gamers, but it may rely a little too heavily on the player being knowledgeable about the Elder Scrolls as a series. If you're completely new to this franchise, you may find yourself feeling a little lost or left behind during your playthrough. But worry not! If you don't want to be bogged down by libraries of lore, this next game is just for you. Coming up is RuneScape. I need to double check this. So, what's the difference? When creating the latest iteration of RuneScape, the game was made to be more interactive. The combat is no longer just point and click, it now functions like a simplified version of Star Wars The Old Republic. You have skills and abilities that you need to activate to fight. It also has updated graphics that are a lot more pleasing to the eye than the dated style of old school RuneScape. This is the most modern and most accessible version of RuneScape that features a proper tutorial and much more hand-holding than its newer, older, old-school counterpart. Like with old-school RuneScape, the game can be played on mobile, making it extremely easy to pick up for a couple of minutes at a time. It also follows the same subscription model as old-school RuneScape. The game is free to play, but certain areas, quests, and skills are locked behind the monthly subscription. However, there's only one subscription for both games. One RuneScape subscription entitles you to the full RuneScape and Old School RuneScape experience, and just like Old School, you can also earn subscription time by spending gold in game. So if you're dedicated enough, you can access everything this game has to offer without spending a penny. RuneScape is an excellent MMO that provides a more modern and easy to follow experience than its Old School counterpart. And while Old School RuneScape is more popular, I believe it's this version that's perfect for more casual gamers who don't want to worry about complex economies or the unintuitive battle system. And while it's great, there's still one game out there that perfectly blends the beauty of a fully fledged hardcore MMO with the simplicity of one made for casual gamers. And that game is Guild Wars 2. Throughout its entire lifespan, Guild Wars 2 has proudly been breaking the mold of other MMOs. Being the only game on this list that has no subscription plan at all, it wants to be a buy once, play forever game. You can choose to buy the newest expansion, which includes the newest content and the unrestricted base game. Alternatively, you can buy expansions 1 and 2 bundled together, or all free for one reasonable price. Not only is Guild Wars 2 content with just letting you buy into the game at a great price, but it also offers a free-to-play experience that lets you get a generous taste of the game before you have to pay a penny. The entire core game is available free of charge, allowing you to try out all the classes up to their cap of level 80. While later specializations of these classes are locked behind their respective expansions, you can still get a lot of game for nothing. Then, when you're ready to expand your adventure, you can usually get the base game and all the expansions in one package for around £40. Guild Wars 2 has a simple but responsive combat system. Your abilities are decided by the weapons you equip, and then you have a selection of perks to fill out the rest. However, instead of most games where you have an average of 30 abilities to choose from, memorize and learn, Guild Wars 2 only ever has 10. You can freely swap between 2 sets of weapons during combat, so this technically expands to 15 abilities, but at any one time you will only have a handful on screen. You can also use a dodge roll in combat, which makes the action much more fluid than something like Star Wars The Old Republic. The game even does a great job teaching you how the combat works by only unlocking a few moves at a time, so you can try them out and understand how they work without being overwhelmed. Guild Wars 2 perfectly marries casual, easy-to-learn MMO features with more complex, fully fledged MMO experiences. There are some really hard fights to encounter if you're interested, but they are all optional. If you just want to explore the world of Tyria and experience the multi-layered saga that is Guild Wars 2's story, that's perfectly fine. This is what makes Guild Wars 2 the best MMORPG for casual gamers. That's it for today. Do you think there's another MMO that deserves a place on this list? As always, let me know. For the best prices on games, hardware and accessories, check out gamingdeals.com. I'm Sean, and I hope you have a great week.